Heyo everybody, this is another installment of Finding Sensibility, where we take positive or inspirational quotes and see if we can make them work in our day-to-day, or if they might just be a product of the times. Tonight's quote comes from one of my favorite philosophers of all time, Friedrich Nietzsche. Just to clarify, there are a lot of misconceptions about things he would say, and his, I believe it was his sister or his sister-in-law was a major Nazi sympathizer and misappropriated a lot of his ideologies for Nazi propaganda. So if that's your only awareness of his philosophy and of his ideology, it's completely inaccurate. That's not to say he didn't have some pretty unpleasant ideas. He saw women as second-class citizens and a few other things that were troublesome, but we're not going to talk about any of that today. We are going to talk about one specific quote that he made. "That which does not kill me only makes me stronger." Friedrich Nietzsche. So, I think a lot of people say this quote not realizing, number one, that it actually is a specific quote, but also that it came from Friedrich Nietzsche. And so we're going to talk about it superficially, but then we're going to put a little more clarification to it. On the surface, this is very easy to apply to anything that you've ever bounced back from, any defeat or any loss that you have managed to get through and be better afterward. We get that feeling. We get that sense of achievement and accomplishment overcoming some adversity. That, hey, this thing tried to take me on, and yeah, it kind of put me on my butt for a little while, but now I'm back and I'm better than ever. So this thing did not kill me. Not only did it not kill me, it made me better. It made me stronger as an individual and as a person. But I think we also need to understand that that is not a universal truth. It's a great mindset to have when you are trying to climb your way back to the mountaintop after whatever the situation is knocked you off of it. It is a great reminder to yourself that this adversary and this adversity can be overcome, and you can come out better and stronger on the other side. But again, that's not across the board. Tons of physical illnesses and injuries can have devastating ramifications for the rest of your lifetime. And so, up to a point, it's irresponsible to not recognize that some of these things can actually make you weaker. And you have to take that weakness, you have to take that handicap into consideration. But again, that is not to say that you can't take this idea and apply it into something else. So again, I'm not ever going to try to say let something defeat you. But this is a tricky idea, and sometimes you have to admit that something has weakened you, and this is going to be something you have to compensate for and work around for however long. This is not a full quote though, and so I want to go into a couple things and actually expand the quote. The full quote: "Out of life's school of war, what does not destroy me makes me stronger." So there's a little bit of different wording, and there's always a discrepancy over translation and stuff like that. But what I want to focus on is out of life's school of war. So a lot of things were happening when Nietzsche was alive, as far as, coming out of World War I, getting into World War II, and a whole number of things along those lines. And so there are some people who think he's literally talking about war itself. I don't necessarily think there's a credence to that. As far as I know, Nietzsche was not a soldier, but I'm a bit ignorant about his biography and his actual history. But what I want to discuss with that is it essentially makes life, the experience of life, a battleground, a war zone. And I understand that. And I really, really do. And anybody who hasn't gone through a moment in their life where they felt like life was a war zone or life was a battlefield, I mean, I'm jealous of you, but I also know that eventually you're going to experience it and it's going to be a big deal. And definitely find some people to help you out with that. Because if you don't know what it's like, as soon as it comes up, it can be devastating and it can be overwhelming. Ultimately, what I want to try to get out of this is that life is not a war zone. Life is also not a flower-filled meadow or some serene place next to a battlefield or some chaotic domain. Life just is. And the things that happen to us, my belief, don't happen to us to teach us any lessons. There is no grand orchestrated division. There is no real battle that we're fighting. We're just trying to get to the end. We're trying to stay in one piece until we get to the end. I know that's not what everybody believes. And I'm certainly not trying to say that my belief is the proper way to take this quote. And I'm not saying that my ideas about existence and our lives are what you need to believe to get any good out of it. But what I will say is I can have a very specific reaction to a very broad experience. Things like near-death experiences, accidents, drug use, alcohol consumption. All of those different things will give me a very different experience. Just like getting married, having a child, getting promoted at work. All of these positive things as well as the negative things are not there to impart lessons. It's just life. It's just the way it happens. So there is no school of war. It's just being able to overcome the adversities that you are able to overcome and not let the adversities that you can't overcome hinder what you decide to make your life about. So if you think life is trying to attack you and get you down, which is easy to do, this is not the case. We're in control of it, to a certain extent. And if we choose to let our adversities destroy us, that's not on life. That's not on something outside ourselves. That is on ourselves. Just like if we choose to overcome it. It wasn't because we were destined for some great thing or fated to overcome so many challenges until we get to the point where we simply can't. It's because of us. So cultivate that. Make that your strength, your inability to be destroyed by adversity. Find a way to bounce back from it. But don't think life's got it in for you. You can get through it. You can get past it. Use whatever help you need, but you can do it. It's in you. It's in all of us. And it is in you. So until next time, stay tuned and stay real.